Let us go after this frog and try not to break him in pieces. And there went his foot. Okay. There went his other foot. Hey friends, it's Sandy from Two Fat Birds Creative. What are we doing today? Well, we have some Terrazzo chips, which is basically just dried Resincrete or crushed up other Resincrete pieces that didn't work. And these we are going to put into a new Resincrete piece. And we are going to do a frog. So, to get started, I've got my bag of Resincrete here. It is 10 to 3. 10 parts powder to 3 parts water by weight. Got my measuring scale here. Got my cup to mix it all up in. And we'll be right back and get started. Alright, so I don't know if you can see, but I've got actually about, it was 308, now 309 because I moved it, grams of powder. Now I was going to make 400, but my Terrazzo chips, these are going to offset some of that needed filling weight for the froggy. I'm just doing the regular sized frog. I did get the giant one from Julie Cuts, but that's a lot right now. I'm waiting my time before I jump into that big giant one. So we're going to add water. So 3 to 10, 100 to 30, 200 to 60, 300 to 90. So we're going to do 90 grams. I'll do 90. Or 94. The good thing about this is it is forgiving, so if you get a little bit more water or a little bit less water is just going to make it a thicker consistency. And, you know, more water is just going to make it thinner, which you can wait and it will thicken up. So here we go. Let's get it all stirred up. Actually, as I'm stirring, I'm going to go ahead and add some green in here. I just want a nice little spring green using the Emerald by Homeware Design Co. She is on Etsy. She has just some really lovely pigments. I'm just going to use that 2 drops of that and get it mixed up. Yeah, see, that won't be too dark, so that's good. I might add another one. You want to make sure you get this all nice and mixed up. You don't want little clumps of powder. I say that, but I always end up with some. And you can see I introduced a lot of bubbles, but those will work themselves out mostly as I let it sit for a little bit. I do want to add a little bit of glitter in here. Give it a little springy look in here. And that glitter, and it may just end up getting covered. You can kind of see it. That glitter was from the PNW Glitter Co. Pacific Northwest Glitter Co. They do go by PNW. They have some fun glitters. Alright, so let's go ahead and add our Terrazzo chips in here. I've got lots of different colors. You can see there is some green, so that's not going to really show up, but this is the first time I'm doing this, so we're learning it together. Oops. Some of the green you can see there is a pretty more vibrant green. Some I put in my little drip mat that had hexagonal shapes. Good thing is, because they are weighted, they should fall, so when I go to sand this guy, he will be a little bit... I mean, the terrazzo chips will have fallen, so you'll see them. I'll give him a little spray of the mold release spray. All right, here we go. Definitely want to make sure I get the chips down in there. I did put a mask on originally to mix this all up because it does produce a lot of powder flying up in your face. And you're scooping it into the container to stir it all up in. So just for a little extra protection, oops, get your face mask on. I don't want the pieces in the toes, but I do want some in the feet itself. Or in the legs. And I'm making a bit of a mess as we go too, so. But, as I say, are you really crafting if you're not making a mess? So making a bit more of a mess than usual. So there definitely will be a lot of over pour that I will need to clean up. And one of the tricks is if you clean it up
as you go along
on the mold, makes cleanup after a lot easier. So being that this is the first time I've ever done this, I'm excited to see what happens. I hope it works. I'm not going to say this is beginner friendly because I've never done it. This little guy here, and we'll get some of this cleaned up. All right. I'm going to shake this bowl or this table here, just trying to get some of those bubbles out because there are probably going to be a lot. And we'll let him hang out here. Let us go after this frog and try not to break him in pieces. And there went his foot. Okay. There went his other foot. This seems to be the problem with doing a frog in eco pores. Also could be a problem because I know I did put terrazzo in there, chips in there. And there goes a toe. So this is just kind of a big disaster. There went another toe. And, oh, all the toes. At least I could glue them back together. Hopefully. There we go. Okay. So there is our frog who has suffered some damage. We'll say he's been off to battle. He's battled in the swamplands. So we are gonna come back and just take off another toe. Sand all of this down on this side. We're gonna sand him on the back side to bring out, you can see a couple, bring out the Terrazzo chips. And I'll glue his toes back together. Alright, we'll be back and this mess will be cleaned up. Alright, so I'm gonna go try to sand this guy down. This is my little hand sander. No clue what the value is of these, as they aren't very readable on there. I assumed they went from most coarse to most fine. This is a coarse one, especially for doing the bottom here. And I have a little bit of water right here, so I can get that wet so that the dust isn't flying around everywhere. It's doing a nice job of getting that sanded down. I'm going to take a littler one to get after these bubbles over here. But you can see what it's doing and exposing those pieces of other Resincrete as we put those in there, and now it's starting to expose them. That's what's called the Terrazzo chips. And let me get my little guy. There he is. Got these little guys. I'm not taking the most coarse. So, a little water. And just start to give them a little sand down some of these bubbles. Which I'm not surprised he has bubbles. Mixing all of that in there. Plus normally his chin is where bubbles like to accumulate anyways. I also don't mind if some of that stays in there and can kind of fill some of those spaces. If I had an electric sander, this would probably be a lot faster. I'd probably also lose a lot more control. And well, we'll just go on the other side now. So it's starting to show up. I think I want to switch over to something a little bit more fine though. And there went another toe. Let's see what this does. I actually don't have the machine that this goes to. I thought when I was buying these it came with the machine, but it apparently did not. And I'll just keep working on this because I'm sure you guys don't want to sit here and see me just do this for forever. And I will come back at any major stopping points or when it's finished. Alright, it's been a couple hours, so let's see if we can get this guy out without snapping it in half. Okay, that worked. I did also kind of use the Resincrete to try to mend his little broken legs. It's not a great job, but it's a job. And so there's his little new little place to sit. Maybe too small for him, and it is, so that is not gonna work for what I was thinking. Well, that's not gonna work. But I can still use that as a, what do you call it? Incense holder. So we can do that. Let's see. I'll come back when I have another plan. Alright, I've mixed up some more Resincrete. I did about 300 milliliters to 90 milliliters of water, or you can use grams. I have this large tray from Let's Resin, and if I'm looking at the back correctly, it said 281 milliliters. So in theory, this should be plenty. And I'm just gonna go over and give this a quick wipe down. There are some things left over on it. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Let's see, where did my tape go? There it is, but I can't do the tape until it's dried. Let's see if these will come up yet. There we go. I like this Let's Resin tray because you can see the grid pattern. Now, some have said that this may shine through on your pieces, but I like it because it gives it all that extra support. All right, I'm going to give it just a little mold release spray. And then I'm actually going to pour only a little bit, about that much, into here. We're gonna shake, shake, shake of this emerald green again. Just trying to figure out how much, where that's gonna go. I might add a little bit more. Truly, a little bit. All right, we're gonna get some drops of that in here. And then I'm gonna color the rest of it blue. And for the blue, I'm actually, which one am I gonna grab? I have a few choices. We're gonna go with Ocean. And it's by also the Homeware Design Co. Shake, 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 shake. I'm gonna take this little thing off so it doesn't fall into my Resincrete, which I have done before. And I'm gonna mix the pretty colors in here. I'll just do a little abstracty, not blending it too crazy. And then the green mixed up. And then we're just gonna do, I'm gonna wait for it to thicken up a little bit because I want it to keep its position. So we'll be right back. Holy cow, this is a mess. It's like a third grader, second grader, kindergarten science project. I was trying to let it thicken and I waited too long and it was already curing in the cups, and I tried to salvage it, but I don't think it's gonna work. We'll see. At this point, I realized, after shining a light on it, that the vibrant green was actually glowing under the UV light, but I was getting really frustrated. So we're at the end. Thank you all for subscribing. If you haven't, please do. It's free, and have a great rest of your weekend.